Today's McGonagall poem is his tribute to a much better poet, actually. It's called The Death and Burial of Lord Tennyson. Alas, England now mourns for a poet that's gone, the late and the good Lord Tennyson. I hope his soul has fled to heaven above, where there is everlasting joy and love. He was a man that didn't care for company, because company interfered with his study and confused the bright ideas in his brain, and for that reason from company he liked to abstain. He has written some fine pieces of poetry in his time, especially the May Queen, which is really sublime, and the gallant charge of the Light Brigade, a most heroic poem and beautifully made. He believed in the Bible and also in Shakespeare, which he advised young men to read without any fear, and by following the advice of both works therein, they would seldom or never commit any sin. Lord Tennyson's works are full of the scenery of the boyhood, and during his life all his actions were good, and Lincolnshire was closely associated with his history, and he has done what Wordsworth did for the Lake Country. His remains now rest in Westminster Abbey, and his funeral was very impressive to see. It was very touching sight, I must confess. Every class, from the Queen, paying a tribute to the poet's greatness. The pallbearers on the right of the coffin were Mr. W.E.H. Lecky and Professor Butler, Master of Trinity, and the Earl of Rosebery. And on the left were Mr. J.A. Froude and the Marquis of Salisbury, also Lord Selborne, which was an imposing sight to see. There were also on the left Professor Jowett, besides Mr. Henry White and Sir James Paget, and the Marquis of Dufferin, the Duke of Argyll, and Lord Salisbury, who seemed melancholy all the while. Other chief mourners were all of the Tennyson family, including the Honourable Mr. and Mrs. Hallam Tennyson, and Masters Lionel and Aubrey, and Mr. Arthur Tennyson, and Mr. and Mrs. Horatio Tennyson, and also Sir Andrew Clark, who was looking woebegone. The bottom of the grave was thickly strewn with white roses, and for such a grave kings will sigh, where the poet now reposes. And for many of the wreaths were much observed and commented on, and conspicuous amongst them was one from Mr. Gladstone. The Gordon boys were there looking solemn and serene, also Sir Henry Ponsonby to represent the Queen, likewise Henry Irwin, the great tragedian, with solemn respect in driving his brougham. And in conclusion, I most earnestly pray that the people will erect a monument for him without delay, to commemorate the good work he has done, and his name in gold letters written thereon. I think Tennyson himself probably would have done a little better with that. Don't usually find poetry, memorial poetry, including the list of pallbearers. But this is McGonagall, isn't it? And he was, well, according to Peter Sellers, and anyway, great. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. At least I think we will. With more McGonagall. You've been warned.